Hello, you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. So, today, as the title says, we are going to go over this new motion that the defense has put in where they include Kayla's Proffer interview, a transcript of it. It's 89 pages. I have not read it all. I've just found it, skimmed it, found an article I'm going to show you, and we're going to go through it together as much as we can. After this live, if you we're going to do something on Patreon. So just you guys that are there, remember that. And that will just start whenever this ends, but I will have a few minutes in between. So let me say hello to you guys, and then we'll get into it. Hey, Tess, good to see you. Hey, Cutie Pie. Hey, Alibi. Hey, Preschool Granny. Hey, Adrian. Hey, Lil Red. Hey, Vanessa. Hey, True Crime Junkie, the OG. Hey, Connie Branch. Jamie, Texas Chick. Hey, West Virginia Jules. Hey, True Crime Crazy. Did y'all see the blanket she made for Bentley? So I got it yesterday, and there has been a lot going on the last couple of days, so I was flustered. And after my live, and I went and got dinner from my parents because they made dinner for us. I forgot it in my car. This morning I got up and I had to go somewhere, and I saw the box and I was like, oh my gosh. So I took the box inside before I left, and we opened it. She made the most beautiful blanket. It almost made me cry. It's just so sweet. I just can't thank you enough. I love it so much. If you guys haven't seen it, please check out the community tab, because the time and effort and love that went into that, it just means the world to me. Hey, JC. Hey, Kathy. Hey, this Mail. It's cold here today, too. Hey, Tony. Hey, Mayla's mom. Hey, Brandy. Harlot. Good to see you guys. Hey, Aunt Diane. I hope you guys are having a good Saturday. Hey, Mama Bear. Artemisia, good to see you. Hey, Patricia. Ooh, I like your new picture. Look at him. He looks like butter wouldn't melt, but he is one of the most arrogant nobodies I've seen. Well, let's pull up this article quick, and then we'll get into the court. We'll get right to it. I like the way that they do their records. It's very easy to find these documents and look at them, and I'll link it in the chat so you guys can see it in full. But this is just an article from the local news that I feel like we should just look at some of it. We can even just look at the beginning. It's about this new filing. So it says, defense, Kayla Montgomery played a larger role in disposing of Harmony's remains. We've been covering Harmony's case for a while here, you guys. I should do a playlist of all my old videos for people who haven't caught up. But her dad is about to go to trial for her murder. She has never been found. After his weapons trial, we did get a look at what Kayla was claiming happened. And when an affidavit was unsealed, and we have went over that on this channel. But this is very interesting to me. I've been waiting for this trial. Jury selection is February 6th. But listen to this. Lawyers for Adam Montgomery, accused of murdering his daughter Harmony in 2019, say police have downplayed the role his now estranged wife played in the disposing of the little girl's remains months after her death. Is he admitting that he did this? Listen. In a court filing, public defenders, or not that he did, just listen and you guys tell me what you think. In a court filing, public defenders Caroline Smith and James Brooks say a police affidavit by a Manchester detective portrays Kayla as, quote, a passive and innocent bystander, unquote, to Adam Montgomery's efforts to dispose of his daughter's corpse inside an apartment at 644 Union Street in February of 2020. This is a quote that they wrote in this. Rather than being a passive and innocent bystander, Kayla actively assisted with the manipulation of Harmony's remains and, as such, knew full well no saw, blade, grinder, or battery was used. Hey, Chase. Did I say hi to you? In case I didn't. Hey, Crime Watch lover. Hello, everyone. Just wanted to jump on and say hi to all mods, and Allie are doing an amazing today, working a 10-hour shift, so I'll replay later. Well, hopefully you have a good day at work, and thanks for being here. Hey, Sparkles Holographic. Why is she not arrested? Oh, I know. Hey, Stephanie. So we're going to get right into it. This is the new filing. Let me just see if the link's too long. to include it for you guys. So you can pull it up if you want. Mayla's mom says, I'm not so sure she didn't have a hand in the abuse. I've thought for a long time, yes, so you guys can pull this up if you want and go through it with me or later or whatever. Hey, Pepper, I agree. I've thought for a long time that, okay, she's trying to save her own butt. She does, in that affidavit that I'll share it on the community tab after this live. She describes what happened to Harmony from the time that they were in the car, and she claims that Adam used his own fist on Harmony over an accident she had in a car. They were living in a car at the time, okay? It describes where Harmony went from that point into a bag out in the snow, into a cooler, into the ceiling of an apartment, how they used lye and her remains. It was so graphic that, she was basically, oh God, I hate to even say this, that she was basically all soft tissue, but you could still see her face. She even said that she could still tell who she was. She describes this tissue going into another bag that she claims to have pushed on a stroller with her other kids in the stroller, and that Adam eventually took it to a restaurant he was working at, put it in the freezer there, and then he went and disposed of it. These are her claims. Ever since all of that came out, I've always thought that she downplayed her role in that. But this Mel says she didn't need to hurt that baby because Adam was violent enough for both of them. But she absolutely failed 100% in her duty to protect that sweet baby. Right. And for those of you guys who haven't followed it, she got in trouble for collecting food stamps in this baby's name when she wasn't there. Hey, Linda, they are disgusting. Hey, Debbie Doodles. Okay. I had to get a drink because this is a lot of reading we're going to have to do. And I don't even know that we'll get through it all in one live, but we're going to try. So it's not dated. It says January term 2024. File date at the top, January 2nd. States partial objection to defendant's motion in Lamine allegations of prior or subsequent bad acts. So this is actually, let me see, I guess the state's response to his motion. I'm confused a little bit. We'll just read through it. Once we get a little further is when they transcribe the proffer. The proffer is transcribed. But I think that it's important we kind of go from start to finish. I hope you guys are okay with that, because we could. So here's the proffer interview. Proffer interview number 3. She had multiple, and she lied and had different stories in all of them. Let's remember that too. So it is transcribed copy, and it's all of it. Wow. Okay. So I had looked before and I saw, but I didn't read through it. I thought we would do it together. So, yeah. I just linked the documents in the chat over on Patreon, which, by the way, you guys, if you're not over there, you should, if you are on Patreon anyways, because I'm trying to make an effort to do a lot of posts that are available to everybody, even if you're not a paid member. I just want to try to build some kind of little place to fall back on if something was to ever happen on my YouTube channel or something again. So I've been posting. Some things are of course, behind the paywall. You have to do that for the people that want to support you and do pay, but not everything is. So definitely go over there. Hey, Mama Bear. I already said hi to you, Mama Bear. I was reading Cutie Pie's response to you and meaning to say, well, hello again anyways, Mama Bear, because you're worth it. But meaning to say hey to Lucia and Kimberly. Chopper, we are going to all need to stick together during this trial. It's going to be a difficult one to everyone. For everyone. I agree, Chopper, 100%. KPM, it's lemony. Okay, thank you. Hey, NT's Apple Bottom Jeans, and hey, Kimberly. All right. Now comes the state of New Hampshire by and through its attorneys, the Office of the Attorney General, and hereby objects in part to the defendant's motion in limine allegations of prior or subsequent bad acts. The defendant has filed a motion wherein he asked the court to preclude the state from introducing evidence of prior or subsequent bad acts or conduct at trial in the above captioned cases. This case is scheduled for a February 6, 2024 trial. The admissibility of evidence regarding other crimes, wrongs, or acts is governed by Rule 404B of the New Hampshire Rules of Criminal Procedure. Rule 404B provides evidence of other crimes, wrongs, or acts is not admissible to prove the character of a person in order to show that the person acted in conformity therewith. It may, however, be admissible for other purposes, such as proof of motive, opportunity, intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, identity, or absence of mistake. A mistake or accident. So he was asking for certain things to be kept out. He doesn't want his interview to be put in there. There are just, or his police interrogation or stop by the police. There's a few different things that he asked to be kept out. They say Rule 404B prohibits the use of such evidence as so-called propensity evidence. However, evidence of other crimes, wrongs, or acts may be admissible if 1. The evidence is relevant for a purpose other than proving the actor's character or disposition. 2. There is clear proof that the other acts occurred and that the person in question committed them. And 3. The probative value of the evidence is not substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice. The New Hampshire Supreme Court has made a distinction between two types of other crimes, wrongs, or acts. They said other act evidence is intrinsic and therefore not subject to Rule 404B, when the evidence of the other act and the evidence of the crime charged are inextricably intertwined. They go on to say the defense motion makes specific reference to 11 categories of bad acts evidence that he is seeking to preclude. As described below, the state is not intending to introduce other acts evidence in some of these 11 categories. However, there are other categories where the state will seek to introduce other acts evidence, either as charged conduct or as intrinsic evidence not subject to Rule 404B. So first, we have A, allegations that the defendant sold or possessed firearms. First, the defendant asked this court for an order precluding allegations of the conduct underlying in charges in his firearms case, as well as any allegations that Mr. Montgomery sold or possessed firearms. The state has no intention of using this evidence in its case in chief and does not object to the requested order. However, the state notes that the defendant was convicted of charges in these cases, and as fully discussed, should the defendant testify, his conviction is admissible pursuant to NHR EV 609. B, the allegations of domestic violence perpetrated upon Kayla. With respect to the motion to preclude allegations of domestic violence perpetrated upon Kayla Montgomery by the defendant, the state objects. On October 26, 2022, the defendant was charged with, among other things, tampering with witnesses and informants pursuant to RSA 641-5, tampering. The defendant was subsequently indicted for tampering on January 20th, 2023, see indictment. Both the initial complaint and the indictment allege that the defendant purposely attempted to induce or otherwise cause Kayla to testify or inform falsely, and that he did so believing that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted. The charge relates to conduct that occurred between December 7th of 2019 and January 4th of 2022. As such, the allegations of domestic violence perpetrated by the defendant upon Kayla is the charged conduct supporting the tampering charge. Because it is charged conduct, it is not subject to analysis under Rule 404B. Kayla has proffered evidence which formed the basis of the defendant's charge of tampering. The state anticipates that Kayla will testify that she provided false statements due to the abuse, threats, and conditioning she suffered at the hands of the defendant, and the fear he instilled in her that she should report his criminal acts, he would harm her. So let's just take a brief pause. He wants allegations of domestic violence to be thrown out. Kayla claims that he threatened her and forced her to lie or not talk and that kind of stuff. Here's the thing. When they were split up, Kayla was living in a shelter with her kids. They were not together anymore. So I don't understand that. Teacup says, in my opinion, New Hampshire and what would that be, Maine, have really toxic culture of silence and not getting involved and purposely turning a blind eye. Wow. Ramblin' Rome, he isn't going to get his way. Well, we're going to read through everything he wants thrown out, everything the state says about it, and then also this proffer. There are multiple people in the proffer. It would be cool to do a recording with like if Jen would help me, or hey, Music City Mom, hey, Natasha. It would be cool to do like a recording of people playing different parts and just exactly what was said in the proffer. And I might do that. But we're still going to read through it today. Patricia, what makes this particular monster worse than others is that in order to not get caught, he was happy to tote his daughter's decomposing body everywhere he went. That is cold and a bit Ed Gainey, in my opinion. Hey, Jim P. Said, no, my headphones flew off my head. I'm sure it looked comical. Yeah, that is a good, we'll see. There's several people, but maybe I can make that happen. So on March 16th, 2023, Kayla provided significant information on the causal relationship between the defendant's fear that she would report him for murdering Harmony and the abuse he perpetrated on her. Kayla said that the abuse occurred consistently, quote, like pretty much every day, unquote. See attached Exhibit 1, Kayla Montgomery's March 16th, 2023 proffer. At page 44, during her proffer, Kayla described how, for almost a year, the defendant would assault her daily, threaten her, and restrict her movements, all while accusing her of telling on him. See page 34 in the proffer. During her proffer, Kayla was asked if the defendant ever hit or punched her after accusing her of telling on him. Kayla responded that, yeah, a lot of times. I can't even count, and I would try to go to bed, and he'd be calling my name, and the kids would be sleeping, and then I'd be like, dude, I'm going to bed. And he'd be like, come sit out here with me. And I'm like, no, I'm not, mentioning the living room because he was sitting out in the living room. And he just kept repeating himself. I didn't want him to wake up the kids, so I would go out there and sit with him. And then he would just keep running his mouth oh, I know you're doing this. I know you're telling. I know you're cheating on me. I know you're doing all these things that I wasn't doing. And then they say, see page 37 of the proffer. Kayla was asked if the defendant would ever threaten her after accusing her of telling on him. Kayla stated that, quote, he would hurt me. He tried. He hurt me a few times, and because he was being crazy, and I remember that. And I would try to leave, and I'd be like, I'm leaving. He'd be like, okay. And then I'd go to leave, and he doesn't let me leave. On December 22nd of 2023, Kayla reported that following Harmony's murder, she was afraid of the defendant. She reported still living in fear of the defendant. She said that following Harmony's murder, the defendant assaulted her regularly and accused her of reporting him for murdering Harmony. Kayla said that she was able to get a protective order and to flee from the defendant. She said that when she left him and hid in her neighbor's apartment, she thought the defendant would kill her neighbor to get to her and then kill her. She said that following Harmony's murder, the defendant became increasingly paranoid, thinking that she would report him. She said that the defendant was paranoid because of what he did to Harmony and the fear he had of being caught. He believed the police were aware of what he did to Harmony and were actively engaged in surveillance tactics, including wiretaps and surreptitiously installing hidden listening devices in their home. Kayla reported that after the defendant would hurt her, he would feel bad and apologize. She said that on one occasion, the defendant hit her so hard that she could not see. Kayla said that several times after the defendant would accuse her of reporting him, she would tell him that she was reporting him because she thought that perhaps he would not hurt her. She said that after she got away from the defendant and in the time that followed before her arrest, she was living in fear of the defendant, fear that the defendant would kill her to further cover up what he had done. She said that after she left him, she did not know where he was, but she knew what he was capable of. She said that the constant assaults were due to his fear that she was working with the police and reporting him for what he did to Harmony. Kayla reported that the defendant assaulted her hundreds of times after he murdered Harmony. She said that he threatened her not to report him. And because of the defendant's constant threats and assaults, she understood that if she reported the defendant, he would kill her. Okay, I'm taking just a 2-second pause. I don't want to pause too much because it's a lot. And I know that some of you guys just want to hear it. But I am so curious what you think so far. If this man was truly capable of punching Harmony and causing her death with his own bare hands, I am sure he wasn't only punching Harmony. But then again, I have to think that once you're away from him, if you come forward and testify to what he had done, he would be arrested. What would you have to be afraid of? I don't know, and I don't know. I don't want to give her any breaks just yet, although if what she is claiming is true, I could see how you would be afraid. However, I still don't want to give her a break. So, Music City Mom, y'all would love my husband. He is so kind and caring and funny. She did, Jordan. She did have another child with him. Mayla's mom, she didn't care about Harmony at all. She kept collecting food stamps for her. So how much let's see. What'd you say, Music City Mom? Just checking on you. He's doing well. He had this back thing put in to help with nerve pain, and it's a miracle device. So now he can concentrate on the cancer and healing. That is awesome. I'm so glad that it's helping. Patricia says he was living in a car. She could have gotten away early on. She's full of shit. Jordan says, I can't believe how much CPS failed this baby, and Oakley too. We were just talking about that before the live. Sweet, sweet Harmony. So sorry, this little darling, that you didn't get to grow up with your little brother. Well, Oakley and Harmony both had foster families that wanted to take them in. Yeah, what's more important, Harmony or your fear? Hey, Vicky, from Kentucky. I'm from West Virginia. I don't live there now, but you're like my next door neighbor when I was. All right, let's keep going. I'm just saying, if she was just only not reporting because she was in fear, would she be doing things like still collecting money in her name? No. You were hoping that nothing would ever happen, in my opinion, so you could keep getting benefits and all that stuff. I'm sure there is a level of fear, but I don't care. Get over it. You're a grown adult. You have entered in a very adult world with all the drugs and all the things that y'all are doing. You need to act like it. Music City Mom, the two dads that adopted Harmony's brother would gladly have taken Harmony in. I know. And there was also Oakley also was in a foster home. They wanted her as well. And she was put back with her parents. Okay. Number 14, the state anticipates that at trial, witnesses will corroborate Kayla's statements, supra, regarding the tampering charge and the fear she had of the defendant. Roz, just one example, Roseanne Smith, a driver for Pelican Transportation, transported Kayla and the defendant to their appointments at the methadone clinic. She began driving for them on December 11th of 2019, just 4 days after the defendant murdered Harmony. Ms. Smith told officers that, quote, Kayla is scared of Adam. That is why she is tight-lipped, unquote. See Exhibit 2. Ms. Smith reported she saw the defendant abuse Kayla. She stated that on one occasion while the Montgomery family lived at their apartment on Union Street, the defendant broke Kayla's cell phone. Roseanne said that when she snuck Kayla her own cell phone, the defendant approached Kayla, twisted the phone from her hand, and told Ms. Smith that he would kill her if she gave that phone to his wife. And that's a quote. The anticipated testimony of Kayla, Miss Smith, and other corroborative evidence is not, quote, other acts, unquote, evidence that would be covered by Rule 404B. But instead, this testimony relates to direct evidence that the defendant tampered with Kayla by threatening her, abusing her, and conditioning her in an attempt to induce her to testify or inform falsely, which is in turn direct evidence of the conduct compromising one of the charges the defendant is currently facing. Therefore, such evidence should not be precluded. C. Now we're on to allegations of neglect and assault on Harmony. So you think at the trial for the murder of your daughter that they should have to leave out allegations of you assaulting that baby? Are you still smoking crack in jail or what? Because that's just stupid to me. But let's listen. Let's read and you guys listen. With respect to the motion to preclude allegations of, quote, neglect in caring for Harmony Montgomery and any assault or assaultive behavior against Harmony Montgomery, unquote. I mean, are you serious? You want that kept out? Okay. Other than the charged conduct, the state objects in part. The state seeks to introduce this evidence as intrinsic other acts evidence that is not ruled to subject 404B. Specifically, the state anticipates that multiple witnesses will testify that in the months and weeks prior to Harmony's death, she appeared to be malnourished and covered in bruises. One witness will testify that Harmony weighed just 35 pounds in the months prior to her murder. It's hard to even speak. Witnesses will testify that on November 29th of 2019, the Montgomery family was involved in a traffic accident, which officers responded to, during which the defendant covered Harmony with a blanket so that her bruises would not be seen by responding officers. Witnesses will testify that Harmony's bruises came from the defendant hitting her after she experienced incontinence in the family car, a partial impetus for his attack on the day of her death. The defendant's acts of concealing Harmony to hide her injuries is significant in that it explains why officers did not observe her with the family a week prior to her murder. It also narrows the timeline of when Harmony was murdered and combats the defendant's claims that he returned Harmony to her mother, Crystal, the day before Thanksgiving in 2019. Additionally, Harmony's physical frailty at the time of her murder shows the defendant's intent, i.e., that he acted recklessly with extreme indifference when he murdered Harmony. Evidence of Harmony's physical condition prior to her murder is directly probative of the defendant's intent, knowledge, and extreme indifference to the value of Harmony's life. These facts form an integral part of the testimony of various anticipated witnesses, which completes the story of the various charged offenses in the instant case. This evidence is at times part of the charged offenses, and as a whole, inextricably intertwined with the facts and circumstances of the charged offenses. Therefore, such evidence would be intrinsic other acts evidence not subject to Rule 404B. The New Hampshire Supreme Court held in Papillion that evidence, which is intrinsic to the case at hand, is not 404B evidence. When the evidence of the other act and the evidence of the crime charged are inextricably intertwined as part of the same criminal episode, there is a causal connection with the charged crime and the uncharged offenses. Such evidence, which is a prelude to the charged offense, is directly probative. How do I say that? Probative. Arises from the same events, forms an integral part of the witness's testimony, or completes the story of the charged offense. So basically they're saying if this evidence is intertwined with if the evidence of him, if the allegations of him abusing Harmony are intertwined with the allegations of murder, matter of fact, if they are inextricably intertwined or part of the same criminal episode, there is a causal connection with the charged crime and the uncharged offenses. So, in order for intrinsic evidence to be admissible, the trial court need to only follow the balancing test under Rule of Evidence 403. Under Rule 403, relevant evidence may only be excluded if the probative value is substantially outweighed by unfair prejudice, confusion of the issues, misleading the jury, presenting cumulative evidence, causing undue delay, or wasting time. The court in Ainsworth advised that evidence would be unfairly prejudicial only where its primary purpose was to appeal to sympathy or cause the jury to base its decision on something other than the evidence in the case. Here, the evidence of Harmony's physical condition prior to her murder is directly the reason she was hidden from officers in November of 2019, and the defendant's knowledge of her condition when he murdered her makes these facts intrinsic and not unfairly prejudicial to the trier of fact. Let me just look something up. I cannot see your comments right now, so I'm hoping that we're okay. Let me just... Let's see. How do you pronounce this word?
Probative.
Probative. Okay, that's how I said it the first couple of times that I started to get confused. Okay, I come over to chat for a second to see you guys. Hey, Juju Bones. Hey, Shay. Wait, when was your birthday, Adrian? I didn't know that. Happy birthday. His abuse unalived her. It was a prelude to the incident that caused her death. Exactly. I know, Tess. That's what I'm thinking. Hey, Lil Wing. It is difficult. Some of it just makes me sick to even say, oh my goodness. Okay, Adrian, I'm gonna do a little late birthday thing for you at the end of the stream. Happy birthday. I hope you had the best day. I hope you have the best year. You deserve it. Adrian has a huge heart of gold, and I am absolutely blessed to know you and to have you help me on this channel too. Hey, Carol. Okay. Can't believe I missed that. I'm sure glad that you said something in here, Shay. Hey, Blue. Let's continue. If you're coming in late, we are reading the state's, it's the state's motion, but it is all about the defendant's prior motion to have certain evidence kept out of trial. They are choosing a jury on February the 6th. And yeah, so they also included Kayla's proffer, a transcript of that. So we're going to look at that. Neat Noodle. Good to see you. Okay. Now they're going on to talk about the assault against Harmony. So 19, as referenced supra, the prior assault on Harmony by the defendant explained why she was concealed when officers arrived on the scene of a traffic accident on November 29th. The accident occurred 1 week prior to Harmony's murder, and her physical condition at the time, as described by witnesses, including bruising to her face, was due to the defendant striking her after she experienced incontinence in his vehicle. Assuming arguendo that Rule 404B would apply to the abuse perpetrated on Harmony by the defendant prior to her murder, the evidence would still be admissible under Rule 404B, as it is relevant to charged offenses to provide context and to show the defendant's intent. The admissibility of evidence of other bad acts is governed by Rule 404 of the New Hampshire Rules of Evidence. In essence, Rule 404 generally prohibits evidence of prior bad acts when it is being offered as nothing more than character evidence. However, under Rule 404B, evidence of other crimes, wrongs, or acts may be admissible for other purposes, such as proof of motive, opportunity, intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, identity, or absence of mistake or accident. Under Rule 404B2, evidence of other crimes, wrongs, or acts is admissible only if it is relevant for a purpose other than proving the person's character, if there is clear proof, meaning there's sufficient evidence to support a finding by the fact finder that the other crimes, wrongs, or acts occurred and that the person committed them, and if the probative value of the evidence is not substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice. As to Rule 404B2A, here the prior conduct involved the same victim, an identical mechanism of assault, i.e. the defendant punching or striking Harmony's face, and occurred under similar circumstances, i.e. in response to Harmony being incontinent in the defendant's vehicle. Additionally, the conduct occurred in close temporal and spatial proximity to Harmony's murder between the defendant's eviction on November 27th and Harmony's murder on December 7th, both 2019. The conduct is direct evidence of the defendant's intent to injure her when he murdered Harmony. This would be a permissible purpose other than proving the defendant's character and disposition satisfying the requirement under Rule 404B2A. Oh, I hope you guys feel better. Clarity says Kayla is trash. She is 100% culpable for Harmony. Hey, Scout. 112. Well, I hope you had the best day, Adrian. You so deserve it. Okay. This is tough stuff to listen to, you guys, so just thank you for being here. It's important, though. It's truly important. To me, it is. So let me just continue. As to Rule 404B2B, testimony from Kayla and other witnesses to the assault or the defendant's statements about the assault and abuse would provide the clear proof required by the rule. Alone, Kayla's testimony would be sufficient evidence to support a finding by the fact finder that the conduct occurred and that the defendant committed it. Finally, as to Rule 404B2C, the probative value of the evidence would not be substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice. The state expects that the timing of Harmony's murder will be a key issue at trial, as multiple witnesses will testify that the defendant told them he returned Harmony to her mother, Crystal, on November 27th of 2019. Therefore, which is the day they were evicted. Therefore, any evidence of why Harmony was not seen with the family on November 29th is highly relevant, especially since one reason the defendant was concealing her was to hide the physical evidence of the abuse he inflicted. The evidence is also highly relevant to show the defendant's intent when he murdered Harmony and his extreme indifference to the condition and value of her life as an equal human being. Then they want to throw out allegations of assault and assaultive behavior. They said, with respect to the motion to preclude these allegations, including but not limited to allegations of an assault on Corey Watts, the state objects in part. The state notes that at the trial of the defendant in case number in another case, Walmart surveillance in the weapons trial, I believe, Walmart surveillance footage of the defendant, Miss Kelsey Small and Kayla, was admitted by the state without objection from the defendant. The footage was subsequently published to the jury. Prior to deliberations, the defendant moved to preclude the footage, arguing then for the first time that the footage contained evidence that was prohibited under 404B. This court disagreed. The state seeks to introduce this evidence as intrinsic other acts evidence that is not ruled as subject 404B. Specifically, the state anticipates that witnesses will testify regarding the great lengths the defendant took to avoid detection after he murdered Harmony. Side note, he wanted it thrown out that there are receipts of him purchasing lye and other things like that, and he wanted that to be thrown out. Hey, Queen Olive. Hey, Kayanne. Let me see. After he murdered Harmony, the footage at issue shows the defendant, his girlfriend, and his wife disposing of electronic evidence that connected him to the charged crimes. The disposal of evidence is an integral part of the testimony of various anticipated witnesses, which completes the story of the charged offenses in the instant case. He also wanted allegations thrown out that he sold illegal drugs. With respect to the motion to preclude allegations that the defendant sold illegal drugs, the state has no intention of using this evidence. He also wants it thrown out that he used illegal drugs. On this one, the state objects. They say the state seeks to introduce the evidence as intrinsic other acts evidence. Specifically, the state anticipates that witnesses will testify that the defendant was using illegal drugs prior to and following Harmony's murder. One witness, Kayla Montgomery, will testify that the defendant used heroin for 20 to 25 minutes while Harmony slowly died in the back seat of his car. Rather than checking on the 5-year-old he struck repeatedly, the defendant chose to use illegal drugs. Other witnesses will testify that the defendant's increasing drug use led to homelessness, which lays the foundation for why the defendant and his family were living in a vehicle. The defendant's drug use is an integral part of the testimony of various anticipated witnesses, which completes the story of the charged offenses in the instant case. This evidence also forms an integral part of the witness's testimony and completes the story of the various charged offenses in the instant case. The evidence of drug use is at times part of the charged offenses and as a whole is inextricably intertwined with the facts and circumstances of the charged offenses. Generally, evidence of other crimes would have to be admitted under Rule 404B. However, again, the Supreme Court held in Papillion that evidence which is intrinsic is not 404B evidence. All right, 1 second, you guys. Okay. Then he wants allegations of theft being thrown out. The state says they have no intentions of using that evidence. Now he wants allegations of domestic violence perpetrated upon Crystal Sorey and prohibiting Crystal from seeing Harmony. He wants that thrown out. Oh, God. Prohibiting her from seeing Harmony, you don't think that's directly relevant, or how do they say it, intrinsically intertwined? Come on now. So the state says, with respect to the motion to preclude allegations that the defendant perpetrated acts of domestic violence upon Crystal and prohibited her from seeing Harmony, the state objects in part. The state has no intention of using allegations that the defendant perpetrated acts of DV upon Crystal in its case in chief. However, the state objects to any order precluding evidence that the defendant prohibited her from seeing her only daughter, Harmony. This evidence is admissible as intrinsic, as intrinsic other acts evidence that is not subject to Rule 404B. Specifically, the state anticipates that witnesses will testify that the defendant refused to allow Miss Sorey to see Harmony after he murdered her, that the defendant blocked her number and stopped answering her messages and calls after the last time she saw Harmony via a FaceTime call in April of 2019, and about the lengths she went to in an attempt to find Harmony prior to law enforcement initiating an investigation. Similarly, Kayla is expected to testify that the defendant blocked family members after he murdered Harmony to avoid detection. The defense conduct in preventing Miss Sorey from seeing Harmony is an integral part of the testimony of Miss Sorey, and it corroborated both Miss Sorey's testimony as well as Kayla's. As such, this evidence forms an integral part of witness testimony and completes the story of the charged offenses. It would be inextricably intertwined with the facts and circumstances of the charged offenses. Let's see. Then they go on again to state how if it's intertwined indirectly, those are just, the same things that we've read. The next one is allegations of any wrongdoing in obtaining custody of Harmony. The state does not object. The state has no intention of using evidence of wrongdoing on the part of the defendant in obtaining custody of Harmony. J, evidence of the defendant's criminal history as a juvenile. The state does not object. They have no intention of using such evidence. Evidence of the defendant's prior convictions. The state does not object to this either. They have no intention of using such evidence in its case in chief. However, the state requests that this honorable court permit the state to admit the existence of certain criminal convictions to impeach the defendant's credibility if he testifies. So should the defendant testify, the state seeks to admit the following: June 2023 conviction, the weapons case, and a 2014 assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. And that is their full motion. So let's just take a breather before we get into this proffer. I'm going to hit a cigarette, talk to you guys for a minute about all that. Wow. I mean, I guess they're doing their job. They have to, make these filings. A lot of times these motions and different things that people will object to in court and stuff, the only reason that they do that is just for purposes of appeal. So I'm not surprised. Can't find my lighter. Well, shoot. Okay, let me see. Yeah, the banner also going across the screen. You can email me
Probative.
there. Let me show you guys a couple things I grabbed though, just to show you before we get into this proffer too. Oh man, they didn't load. I had a bunch of pictures of Harmony I had put in here. But also I did double check about about the trial and when it starts, and says that jury selection is scheduled for February the 6th. So it's coming fast. We have less than a month. Okay. Lil Red says, I wish I could go to the trial. I wish I could too. I have a friend who, if you go back to some of my coverage, a viewer that I consider all you guys friends, but a viewer that lived in the area. And when you guys remember when they searched that apartment and they took the refrigerator out and they were down in the sewers, she went down there and filmed for us. Yes, that's true. Uncle Kevin was raising awareness to law enforcement, and then Adam's gun charges brought more evidence in his trial, allegedly. Jordan, I don't know how either. That is the most ridiculous crap. Hey, Roxanne. Remind me how they found out what happened in this one, Jordan. Because in Kayla's proffer, which she did several, but she lied in the first couple. And then in the last one, she gave all kinds of information regarding what which was that they had a stoplight. Didn't the car break down or something that day? But regardless, they were in the car, and Harmony had an accident, and he reached back and struck her with his fist multiple times. And apparently neither of them checked on her, based on what we learned before in the affidavit, for several minutes, that she made a weird sound. And like 15, 20 minutes later, they then checked on her. She was deceased. He put her in a duffel bag and set it out in the snow. The story went on to, they moved, they went and stayed with Kayla's family, and Harmony was in a cooler in the hallway. Then they also were at this shelter, and she was in the ceiling. And in the arrest affidavit, we found out that police went and tested the ceiling, and there was evidence of decomposition up there of human remains and fluid. You could see like it had stained. And then after that, he used lye on her, and they switched her to another bag. He later, like Kayla describes everything that happened up until the point where he goes out to dispose of her, finally in this rental van. And apparently Kayla doesn't know where, that he wouldn't tell her. He will never testify. Do you guys think that he will? That is interesting. They only want what happened from the day she died forward. Hey, KPM. Hey, Blue Eyes Hypnotized. It is horrible. Yes, he put her at his work. That was next. So after they got the lie and stuff, he took her out in the shower, and Kayla says that she could still tell it was Harmony. She could see her facial features in her glasses, but she was no longer solid, and that she helped him squish her into this little bag that he then took. She pushed on a stroller in between her kids, but eventually went to his work. I think it was like Portland Pie Company or something, and set in the freezer there for a while. Hey, Bree. I've never done drugs, so I don't know about this. Would she have remembered all these details if she was doing drugs? Honestly, for me, I don't have much memory at all of my time using. Like, I lost a lot of time. I know, Shay, it was horrible. Scarlett says, yep, he brought her to work with him and put her in the walk-in freezer at Portland Pie Company. I thought that's what it was called. Yep. I know. It's horrible. It is absolutely horrible. Little Red says, he would be stupid to testify if it opens all the things he doesn't want brought in will be brought in. Hey, Robes Gal. And she's never been found. Pushed around in a stroller in between her two kids. Stephanie says, Allie, my memories from my time using are gone as well. Yeah, it sucks. Really does. Bree says, me too, Allie, but I know plenty of ex-users who remember every single thing. It's interesting. It's probably different person to person. But okay, so now we're at the point of the proffer. And this is long. I don't know that we'll get through it all, but I think we should give it a try, see how far we go. And they're younger, Jordan, than Harmony. They were little. Yep, until he got access to a vehicle and drove around randomly throwing unknown objects out the window. Cutie Pie says, I remember it all, unfortunately. Harlot, I've lost some time, but remember all the major events. JC has very little memory, but bad relationship that I blocked out. Okay, so let's look at this now. I'm nervous. I don't know why. I just like, I could just get like a physical. Ugh. So JD is going to be Detective Jack Dunleavy. Like I said, I'm going to find 5 other people that will read this with me and try to do a recording. I think that'd be really cool. So, but in the meantime, we should just read it together. So JD, Detective Jack Dunleavy. MR is Detective Max Rahill. CK is the Attorney General Christopher Knowles. BA is Assistant Attorney General Ben Agati. PG is Attorney Paul Garrity. And then KM is Kayla. I'm going to get a picture of this with my phone just so it's on page 19 though, but so I don't have to scroll back if we get kind of lost or something. Okay, so Detective Jack Dunleavy starts the proffer interview and says, it's March 16th at 11:29 a.m. We're at the Attorney General's office in Concord, New Hampshire. Present are myself, Detective Dunleavy, Detective Rahill, Assistant Attorney General Knowles, Assistant Attorney General Agati, your attorney, Paul Garrity, then yourself, obviously, Kayla Montgomery. So this is going to be kind of informal. It's going to be kind of the same as we've done in the past. We're just going to ask some questions, except that we want your honesty for all of these questions, okay? Kayla says, Detective Jack says, before we start, do you have any questions at all? Kayla, not really, no. Jack, okay, if you don't know the answer, just tell me you don't know, okay? Kayla says, Jack, that's fine if you don't know or if you don't remember, but just again, I want these questions to be answered honestly. Kayla says, yeah. Detective Jack says, that way, down the road, we don't have any issues, okay? Okay. So, Detective Jack says, one of my first questions was, we have spoken to, obviously, a bunch of people. Have you and or Adam ever asked for a freezer of any type from one of the drivers at Pelican Transportation? Kayla, no. Jack, do you remember Jackie, the driver at Pelican Transportation? Kayla, yes. Or yeah. Jack, there had been conversation with her or her associates of Pelican where there had been mention that maybe you or Adam had asked for a freezer at one point from them to see if they had one. Kayla says, no, not that I remember. I never heard that or anything. I know that Jackie was moving and she offered to give us some furniture because we didn't have a bed frame or anything like that. So she gave us her bed and bed frame and some pillows and a blanket. And that's like it. I never heard about a freezer or asking her for that. Detective Jack says, when did you guys end up getting that? Were you living what? Kayla, we were living on Union Street. Jack, now, was that something that you had just moved in there or something different? Kayla, yeah, that was when we moved in. Like, it was probably like a couple months after we moved in. And Jackie was moving and she gave us the furniture. It was like the springtime. Yeah. Jack, okay, all right. And these aren't in any particular order, but I know in the past you had stated Adam didn't use any tools on Harmony. Kayla says that I know of. Jack, that you're aware of. Yeah. Jack says, do you remember him buying any tools around that time that you're aware of? Kayla, no. Jack, or notice any new tools at the house? And Kayla says, no. I know I know he did get some tools, but I don't remember when he got them. I remember I remember when he broke the counter the first day he got arrested the first time. Jack says, now where would this be and when? What time? Union Street. Jack says, and that was just while Kayla, it was March. Jack, it was in March. Jack, did you still have Harmony at that point? Kayla, no. Jack, okay. Do you remember him buying anything or stealing anything? Any other types of tools like power tools or anything? Kayla says no. Jack, okay. So I'm going to show you a picture of a tool. And can you just tell me whether you had seen it in the apartment or not? Mm-hmm. No, I never seen that. I haven't seen that. I know there was a saw, but it was like a big, like a table saw like that. I don't know. That's what he broke the counter because he was pulling it out because he was being crazy. Jack says, so it was like a table saw, like something Kayla, it was a big box, like this big. Jack, okay. So it was like kind of positioned on, Kayla says it was under the counter. Jack, like a table? Kayla, no, it was under the counter in its box that I don't remember. I just remember it was a saw. Jack, okay. Kayla, and it was a big box and I don't remember it looking like that. Jack, okay, should I pull up a picture of and then we have CK, who is Assistant Attorney Christopher Knowles. He said, I can do that while you keep going. Jack said, okay. Another thing I had asked you about. I remember you said that a bag of lime was used at some point. Kayla says, yeah. Hey, Rexy. Detective Jack says, to put into the bag where Harmony's body was in? Kayla, yeah. Jack, tell me again what you remember about where that came from. Kayla, I don't even know where it came from. I just know he got it. I don't know where it came from, where he got it from. It was just there all of a sudden. I don't know where he got it from, who he got it from, how he got it. Detective Jack, okay, this is just from Home Depot. Some general pictures of lime bags. Do any of these look familiar or similar to the one that you remember seeing? Kayla, I think this one. I remember it was white. Jack, okay. So that's like the most similar, like the closest to what you remember seeing. Kayla, yes. Jack, do you mind circling that, initialing it? Just so and then I'll put this in our notes for later. Thank you. So MR speaks up next, and that is Detective Max Rayhill. He says, do you know if he had a shovel? Kayla, no, I don't. Detective Max, okay. Or when he left that night, Kayla, Max, in a U-Haul? Kayla, I don't remember the time that he left. I just remember he had Travis's girlfriend rent it. Detective Max says, Kayla, and got the hotel room. Our kids were with us at the hotel. He got them to rent the hotel room and rent the U-Haul, and he left in like the middle of the night and came back when it was like starting to get light out, and I was sleeping with the kids. I don't know when, I don't know what, when he left. Detective Jack jumps back in and says, before I kind of jump topics, do you want to... And then we go back to the assistant DA, who again is named Christopher Knowles, the assistant attorney general. Christopher says, do you remember what color the tool was that he had, the saw? Kayla, no, I just remember the black box. I don't remember. I remember it was like it was old, but I don't... Detective Max, it was handheld though, question mark, or why am I reading that? Question. It's a question, obviously. It was handheld though. Kayla says, it was like you had to plug it in, I think. Christopher Knowles, the assistant attorney general, says, so like... Then Detective Max says, yeah, but like it wasn't like a fixed... Detective Jack says, is that what you saw? Like Kayla, yeah, something like that, but it was in the big box. Like it was big, but I don't remember the color of it. Detective Jack, did it have... And then Kayla says, on the inside, I just remember the box. Detective Jack, did it have like a table built into it? Like Kayla, no. Okay, so, but it was something like this? Kayla, yeah. Okay, so that would be Kayla, I just don't remember the brand. Detective Jack, just a cordless compact saw, circular saw. Kayla, yeah. Jack says, all right. Kayla says, but I don't remember the brand, but I remember it was a thing like that. And Kayla says, I just remember the box. Detective Jack and Kayla, because I remember him destroying the house. Detective Jack says, but that was after her body was disposed of? Kayla, yeah. Detective Jack, but you're 100% on the fact that there were no tools used to... Kayla, that I don't know. Detective Jack, break. So he's asking a question and she answers like interrupting him. But his entire question is, but you're 100% on the fact that there was no tools used to break her body up. Kayla says, no, I don't know of that. Detective Jack, okay, and you didn't... Kayla, I just remember the lime. Jack says, and you didn't hear any noise of any tools going or anything like that? Kayla, no. Jack, okay. Kayla, I didn't... No. Jack, and even going in the shower. I remember you were telling me you were in the bathroom for a portion of it. Kayla says, yeah, but I didn't... You don't remember seeing anything like that? Kayla, no, I just remember the lime. Jack, okay, and how much of the bag did he use? Kayla, I don't know. I don't know. I just know that he used it. I don't know how much he used, or I don't know. Jack, and remind me again, and I apologize if it's something you'd already told us in the past, was it after he had finished what he had done in the shower? Is that when he used the lime, or was it prior to that? Kayla says, I don't know, because I wasn't in there when he did it, but I think it had to have been after, because I don't know, I think that's like, I don't know. Yeah, after, because she already admitted that in the shower is when she was soft tissue, but she could still tell what her face was. Well, I mean, she could still see her she could still see it was Harmony, for a better way to say that. Excuse me. Jack says, does this look more like what you saw? Kayla, or more like if Kayla, well, that's not there. I don't know. Jack, the bottom portion of it isn't? Kayla, yeah, no. Jack, okay. Kayla, I just remember that it was something like that. And then the Assistant Attorney General says, the black box, was it plastic or was it cardboard? Kayla, it was the plastic. It was like you get a tool and it comes with the box. Yeah, the case to it. See, the Attorney General assistant says, okay. And did it have wording on it? Kayla, yeah, that's what I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the name of it. Jack says, okay. Kayla, but remember, it was the box that the tool comes in. Jack, okay. Detective Max says, just for documentation purposes, that was a miter saw, just because there's no video. Jack, yeah. Assistant Attorney General, I forwarded both images so we can print those out and attach them to the report. Detective Jack, okay, sure. If Adam would go to buy like tools or things like that, where would he typically go to? Kayla, Jack, buy things like anything outdoor related. Kayla, I remember he was working at Home Depot, but then that didn't happen after he got arrested that night and whatever. He wasn't going anymore. But I know there would be like, he'd go on the marketplace or something like that. Or if people were getting rid of tools. Yeah, because when you're an addict, a dealer, and you're in the game, you don't get those things at Home Depot. They're either 5-finger discount from somebody you're stealing from, or somebody else stole it and sold it to you on a discount, or you're trading it for dope, or vice versa. There you go, Lil Red. He stole it. Hey, Boo Sheep. Excuse me, we have a long way to go, too. We're on page 27 of 89. Kayla says, he would ask, oh, are you getting rid of that or something? Or people would be like, oh, I'm getting rid of this. Do you want it? Okay. And I don't remember who gave him that saw thing. Okay. Or where. I don't remember where, if he bought it or if somebody gave it to him. I don't know. Detective Jack, okay. Do you remember seeing any other tools around either Lake Avenue or Union Street when you guys were living there? Any tools that he would carry from place to place at all? Kayla, no. Detective Jack, okay. Kayla, and when we were at Lake Avenue, he was mostly working in that, like wasn't doing anything, just working. Jack, okay. Where would you guys go to withdraw money from? Like, would you typically go to get cash, or would you guys always use a card? Kayla, I know that I had a Chime card. Jack, now, was that something that was just in your name or both of your names? Kayla, he had one in his name, but I had one in my name. But I think the one that he lost his card somehow, but I think we ended up using my bank account because we got our taxes and that, like all that. I ended up using that as our bank. Jack, and now what kind of bank card did you have? Kayla, Chime. Jack, okay, so it wasn't you, it was just a Chime. Kayla, yeah. Jack, so neither of you did you have like a Bank of America or a TD Bank? Kayla, no, I haven't had any kind of bank account like that in years that I can remember. I'm going to pause and tell you guys, this is so typical for addicts. I remember I hadn't had a bank account for years. I got one like when I was graduating high school, and I had one for a little bit after school. And then I did not get another bank account until right when Bentley was born. And I had just kind of gotten into recovery, and I still have the same bank account now, the same license. Like, it's crazy because in addiction, you're not keeping track of your cards, or your bank account's always overdrawn. It's just everything in your life is upside down. Okay. Detective Jack. So because I'm not super familiar with Chime, is that a card you have? Kayla, yeah. Jack, like a physical card? Kayla, yeah. And they have like their own banking thing. Like there's a routing number, account number, stuff like that. Jack, okay. Kayla, and I had it before I got arrested in January. Jack, okay. Think back to the time of like when everything happened with Harmony, when she was killed, when her body was disposed of. Were you guys using your charm card at that period of time? Kayla, yeah, because we got our taxes. And Jack, so your taxes went right onto that chime card. Kayla, yeah, first we had that emerald card. So I know we had that. Jack, okay. That's the one that you get from H&R Block. Kayla, yeah. And then I know that I had switched over to the chime, I think, or something. I think the H&R Block, I think that was it was gone. And then we started using the chime account when he got the job at Home Depot. And I also think it was because I think he set up the PayPal to get paid from the job he was doing with Mike Sullivan. Jack, okay. Kayla, that summer. And then I switched it over to the chime card. And I don't remember if the PayPal was in my name or his name or what. Jack, okay. But you both used the chime account? Kayla, yeah. I shouldn't be reading her like that. I should be reading her like, and then I switch. She has that crackly, under the influence, slow voice going on still. And at least when she testified. Jack says, okay, but you both used the chime account? Kayla, yeah. Jack, okay. And was there so there was one card for you, one card for Adam, and then did you have a third card that was for shared, or did you guys just kind of, no, it was just the same, Kayla says. We just used the card and Adam lost his card. Jack, okay, so it was all one account though. Kayla, yeah. Jack, okay. Kayla, well, Adam's was his account and he lost his card, so he didn't use his account. Jack, so he started using your card? Kayla, so it was my account. Jack, gotcha. Jack, what other ways would you guys use to purchase things, like going to the convenience store or getting gas? Like how other ways would you? Kayla says, card. Usually a card. I know that if like we would just take money out to get drugs or something, we go to 7-Eleven or a Rite Aid. Mostly it was a 7-Eleven or that convenience store that was across from the apartment, the Union Street Market. Jack, so you'd go to 7-Eleven to withdraw money from the ATM? Kayla, yeah, any 7-Eleven, because it was free. Like they wouldn't charge you your card, the fee to get the money out. Jack, okay, so 7-Eleven, Union Street Market, and where else? You said there was one more that Kayla, or Rite Aid? Jack, Rite Aid, okay. Kayla, I know we used a Rite Aid. Jack, did you? Kayla, because I know the chime you can, it depended on the type of ATM machine, but I know 7-Eleven was the most, but I've used it at a Rite Aid or just I don't know if that was a long time ago. I just know that's where we take the money out. Jack, so you would take cash out as well besides using the card? Kayla, yeah, most of the time we only took cash out to get drugs. Jack, so the cash, when you took cash out, it was for drugs? Kayla, yeah. Jack, the card was used for every other day type purposes? Kayla, yeah. Jack, okay. Kayla, that I know of, that's what I used it for. Jack, right. So did you guys ever have an account at Citizens or anything? Or would you use Citizens to withdraw money? Kayla, I don't remember using Citizens, and I know I didn't have a bank account at Citizens. Jack, so we have a withdrawal on February 26th of 2020, where it looks like maybe you and or Adam withdrew $500 from Citizens on South Willow. Were you guys taking out that lump sum of money pretty often, like large amounts of money? Kayla, no, I don't even remember that. Jack, okay, so you're not sure about that. Kayla, no. Jack, okay. Then Detective Max says, so sorry. And then Jack says, no, go ahead. Max says, so that was around the time you guys bought that rifle from Travis Beach? Kayla, he did, not me. Detective Max says, right. Kayla, yeah. Detective Max says, well, all right. During that transaction, so it was around that time, do you remember him going to the bank, or does that help you Kayla, I know he was the one that was always leaving and I was staying home with the kids. He was the one always going because I stayed home. He's the one that went and got a job, and he's the one that was leaving to go get whatever. Max, okay. Kayla, so I just know that he would take the card and go take money out or something, and I would think it was What time, what date, what year? I mean, what month? Laughing. Jack, February of 2020, like right at the end. So what, Kayla, before March? Like right? Detective Max, yeah. Kayla, before March? Detective Max, yes. Kayla, that's when we got our taxes. Mm-hmm. Jack says, okay, how much were you guys taking out at a time if you had to guess what that you know of? Kayla, I don't know. I know that I know of it was 100 or 200 at a time. I don't remember taking out 500. Jack, okay. And it might be something that Adam did, you know? Kayla, yeah, I know. Jack, you might not have been there or you just didn't know he was taking that amount. Kayla, yeah. Jack, yeah, but Kayla, unless it, like, I know we went shopping and, like, I don't know. I don't remember taking money out. Detective Max, would you ever go to South Willow? I mean, that's kind of far from Union Street. Kayla, that's the only thing I can think of is if somebody gave him a ride. Max says, right. Kayla, and he was paying them something. Max, to go there? Kayla, or to go get something or whatever. Max says, but nothing that you're aware of. Kayla, no. Max says, okay. Now Jack asks, so when Adam got that gun from Travis, do you remember how he got that money to pay for it? Kayla, no. Jack, because you were home from what I remember. Kayla, yeah. Jack being in the home when that transaction happened. Kayla, I don't remember. I don't remember how we paid him, or I don't remember any of that. I don't remember how he paid him. I didn't see him pay him. Jack, okay. Kayla, I just remember the gun coming in the apartment. Jack, okay. So I think you've answered a couple of these next ones. So you guys, just for clarification, right around the time, between the time of Harmony's death and the time that she was disposed of, Kayla, Jack, you don't recall having any actual bank account other than the chime as far as like, Kayla, yeah, the chime was like the main one, and I was still using it all the way up until last year, January. Jack, okay. Kayla, because I would use it for my direct deposit for work, and also when I got my taxes, that was just strictly the bank account that I would use. Jack, now was that account that's the same account you've had open since back then? Kayla, yeah. Jack, so you've never had to like close it and reopen it or anything like that? Kayla, they actually closed it when I went to Valley Street last year after 4 months, and I guess they said that I had multiple accounts, and I was like, I don't remember doing that. And I signed up for the credit card thing, and they gave me the credit card, and like before I got arrested, and I just remember that. So then when I got out and I tried to use it, they said that I couldn't do it. Jack said, okay, Kayla, because I had multiple open, and I don't remember that. Jack, now you should have an account with Chime. Adam should have an account with Chime. Kayla, Jack, okay. Did you guys ever open in the children's name just because? Kayla, no. Jack, because maybe like your credit or whatever was going on? Kayla, not that I know of. Now we're going to get into the U-Haul. Let me just check on you guys for a second. Hey, Edith. Hey, Foxy. Oh, Shay. How freaking sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, Mayla's mom was telling me that there is a new promotion where you can gift like 10 memberships a month or something. I'm going to look into that and try to figure that out. Hey, Callie Dime. Shay, that was sweet. Thank you. Janet, Alex, I was just about to say you are making her sound way too sweet. Okay. Now, Jack says, okay, kind of going fast forward a little bit to the U-Haul. Kayla, Jack, did Adam or Travis or anyone else take the U-Haul out that you remember before Adam left, like late at night? Kayla, I don't know. I don't know if anybody left with it. Jack, okay, and did Kayla before him? Jack, so you don't know if anybody or even if Adam went out and ran errands or anything like that? Kayla, no. Jack, did you ever get in the U-Haul at any point? Kayla, not that I know of, not that I remember. Jack, All right, so you never got in. You guys didn't like run down the street to get like food or anything like that, because I mean that's Kayla. No, your only source of Kayla. I didn't do that. I remember we were walking, but I wasn't going anywhere. It was cold with the kids. Like I wasn't. If we wanted to eat or something, I would have him go get it, because I'm like, I'm not going out there and bringing the kids out there. Jack, right, because you have all those kids to pile into a small van. Kayla, yeah, there was just 2 at the time, but Jack, so that's a lot of work. Oh God, there was just 2 at a time. Even that statement just like infuriates the hell out of me. Kayla, yeah, and there was nowhere to go. There was nowhere to sit in the van. He said there were just the 2 seats in the front. Okay, so Jack, is there anything else about that U-Haul that you're remembering that maybe you didn't remember in the past, or that you had kind of thought about since our last time we spoke? Kayla, no. Jack, okay. Kayla, I keep trying to remember when I first talked to you guys about it. And you said something about me being there with the kids or something. Like you were like, oh, you wouldn't be there with the kids, or when he was getting the U-Haul from the place. And I was like, no. And then you were making me think that I did that, and I didn't. And Jack, they were making you think that you did that? Okay, Kayla. Jack says, well, just because we had some conflicting statements from other people. Kayla, Jack, so we wanted to try to iron out those details. Were you there or weren't you there? Because other people thought they remember you being there, but you're telling us you weren't. They weren't 100% sure, so we're trying to look for clarification. Kayla, okay. Jack, okay, so that's why it maybe came off like that. Kayla, yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember getting it. I don't remember going there. I just know he came back and was like, oh, I have the U-Haul. Okay. And I was like, okay. Jack says, kind of staying in the same theme of U-Haul, tell me about the storage unit you have. Kayla, the one I had before it got taken? Yeah. Kayla says, I got that a family member from the church helped me because I left Adam. Okay. Kayla, and took my kids and stayed with my mom, and I needed to figure out how to put some stuff away. Like I was like, I don't want to leave all this stuff here. Like I do need some of it until I get a place. And then so Miles was the one that helped me. Him and his son helped me move my stuff. JD or Jack says, now, were they the ones that like actually rented it for you? Kayla, yeah, Miles rented the U-Haul. Detective Jack, remind me of Miles' last name again. Kayla, Jack, I know I've spoken to him. Kayla, I don't remember. Martin? JD, Miles Martin? Kayla, yeah. Jack, okay, so I remember speaking to him. I just couldn't remember. Remind me which town that U-Haul was located in. Kayla says, I remember it was in behind the airport. Let's see. I wonder if we should just skip past all the little things that are just like talking back and forth and talk about the parts. Do you guys want me to read straight through it? I will probably have to do 2 parts, but I'll read for like 30 more minutes. Or do you want to just go to the most relevant parts and skip over the little stuff, which is just like back and forth that doesn't relate to harmony? Which part, chicken shite? I know Thistle, me too. Me too. Relevant is fine. If we're going to record like Chase's details are in the little stuff. If we're going to record a straight through as one person playing each part, I like you doing it all. You're going fast. It's great. Okay, so let's see. Jack says, remind me which town that U-Haul was located in. Kayla says, I remember it was behind the airport. She said, but it was like Bedford, but Manchester. I don't remember which one it was in. I'll just skip over like the little, like Detective Jack says, okay. Detective Jack says, okay. Those little things. Kayla says, but I know it was right there behind the airport. Jack says, but not on South Willow. Kayla said, no. Jack, okay. So we ended up going through the storage unit. All right. Kayla, Jack, we didn't throw anything out. We just left everything kind of where it was. We did take a few things to go through them, some paperwork and stuff like that. And in that unit, we found a domestic violence petition. Do you remember filing one? or filling one out at least? Okay, here we go. So that was the first time he got arrested because the cops came for like the third time, said Kayla. And because he was being crazy and he was yelling, somebody call the cops. And he thought I was trying to kill him, but I wasn't. Detective Jack says, so that DVP, did you end up ever filing it, or was it just something you filled out with the intentions of maybe filing? Kayla said, I don't remember filing it, but I remember that because I couldn't go straight to my mom's house and DCYF was involved, and they connected me with the YWCA and they put me in a hotel with my kids until I could go with my mom because my mom was in North Dakota. And so then I was there for like a few days until she came. And then what was the question again? If you ever filed the DVP that we found in there. No, said Kayla, I don't remember. I don't remember doing that, but I remember I remember doing court over the phone or something, or a hearing, whatever, when he was getting released, and they had me connected to the violence thing. I don't remember if I filed that or not. I don't. Detective Jack says, so in there, I don't remember the exact language of what you wrote, but it was something along the lines of he was accusing you. You were saying that he was accusing you of something. Do you remember what that was in reference to? Kayla, telling, said Detective Jack. About Harmony, Kayla said. Jack says, okay, so in that DVP, was he saying that when he got arrested, like he was freaking out because he was thinking you were telling people what he did to Harmony? Kayla said, every time that he would freak out, it was either I was trying to kill him, I was telling about Harmony, or I was cheating on him, or all three. Jack says, okay, so you remember specifically that DVP he was accusing you of all of it. Kayla said, all three things. Jack, okay. Kayla said he would say random, like it was either you're cheating on me, or you're trying to kill me, or you're telling. Like he wouldn't say after what I'm telling, but I knew what he was saying and he knew what he was saying. JD, okay, like any like cleanup from that question? CK, I know that's Christopher Knowles, but I forget it's the Assistant Attorney General, Christopher Knowles, says, did he ever threaten you in any way? Kayla said he would. He hurt me. He tried. He hurt me like a few times, and because he was being crazy, and I just remember that, and I would like try and leave, and he's like, I'd be like, I'm leaving, and he'd be like, okay, and then I'd go to leave, and he doesn't let me leave. And Christopher Knowles says, so was there an interaction between the two of you that led to you, like one that stands out that led to you wanting to get the protective order? Kayla said, I think it was more or less the officer that came to the house because he was coming very frequently. And he and I had, she says, and I had a black eye the next day that they came again, and he suggested doing that protective order. And then when he got arrested and went to Valley Street after St. Patty's Day was when he got arrested that year in 2020. 2020, I don't remember what JD says. I think it might have been 21. Kayla, yeah, that one. Christopher Knowles. So the black eye that you just mentioned, how did you get it? Kayla, he punched me right in the face. And he had done it. He did it quite a few times within those years. Christopher Knowles, can you describe what was going on before he punched you? Kayla, he'd be yelling and screaming, saying that I was cheating on him. And the first time he was like, tell me or I'm going to punch you in the face. And I was like, I'm not telling you because I didn't do anything. And then I told him that I did when I really didn't. And he still punched me in the face. So were those two separate times? Kayla said, no, it was the same time. Same time? Yeah. So he punched you twice that time? Kayla, yeah, he just kept punching me. Like it wasn't just twice. He just kept punching me. Christopher, did he ever use physical? Did he ever punch you or hit you or push you or manhandle you in any way after accusing you of telling on him? Kayla, a lot of times. Like I can't even count. She said, and I would try and go to bed, and he'd be like calling my name, and the kids would be sleeping, and then I'd be like, dude, I'm going to bed. And he'd be like, come sit out here with me. And I'm like, no, I'm not, like mentioning the living room because he was sitting out in the living room, and like, I'm not doing this with you. And he just kept repeating himself. I didn't want him to wake up the kids, so I would go sit out there with him. And then he would just keep running his mouth, like threatening and saying things like, oh, I know you're doing this. I know you're telling. I know you're cheating on me. I know you're doing all these things that I wasn't doing. And I know a couple times I did tell him that I was cheating on him just because he just kept going, like repeating it and coming at me with it. So I just said that I did, even if I didn't. And she was crying at this moment. Christopher Knowles says, was there something specific that would trigger those interactions? Kayla, yeah, like when we would smoke crack, once we would get crack, right after he took that hit, it was over. That was it. It was like he was just gone and like destroying everything. She's still crying. She goes on to say, and like it was to the point where I couldn't take care of the kids, and like I couldn't feed them. I couldn't make them a bottle. I couldn't change them. More crying and sniffling. And if I knew he would like be leaving to go get drugs or whatever, before he would come back, I would make the bottles, feed them, make sure they're in bed, make sure I could change them, make sure I had everything ready for them, and that they were fine, because I knew he was going to. Anything I did, I was taking the drugs, or they were fake, or if I move, it's like something like I couldn't even move. She's still crying and sniffling. Christopher Knowles says, feel free to use that if you need. Jack says, they just went to get you some tissues. I know that's not. And then Detective Max says, the softest thing to wipe your face with. And then Kayla laughs. Christopher says, do you remember around when that kind of change happened with Adam? Kayla goes on to say, I feel like it slowly started happening when we went to Lake Avenue. Like, I know when we were living in our car, like I could see, like before living in the car, I could see like he was changing. And then once we were living in the car, like he started getting a little crazier. And then once we were at Lake Avenue and he was working and he was fine. And then once we moved to Union Street, he slowly started getting nuts. And then he just started getting crazy. It was like that right after we got our taxes in 2021 or 2020. I don't remember whatever date that was. Detective Jack, 2020. Kayla, yeah, so it was like we had our taxes. He was okay up until the winter time. And then once winter came, he was going nuts and accusing me of whatever. Christopher Knowles, the assistant attorney general, says, so at that point, you still have Harmony's body? Kayla, yeah. Yeah, until the March after that, or May, whatever, the springtime. Jack, so him accusing you of telling about Harmony and assaulting you at the same time, was that happening when you guys still had her body? Kayla, yeah. Jack, okay. Christopher, did you ever have a sober conversation with him when he was? Kayla, yeah, like coming down, or? Kayla says, when like he would be fine, when like he'd be sober and we'd be able to talk, and then he would be like, I'm sorry, and apologize. She starts crying again. But then he's like, just tell me. Like he would call me, and he's like, just tell me what you're doing. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. And I do remember one of the times we were laying in bed and he was accusing me of telling about Harmony. And I was like, no, I'm not. And then he just kept nagging me. And then I told him that I did when I didn't. Like I just kept telling him that I was doing things that I wasn't doing, because he wouldn't stop crying and sniffling. Christopher Knowles says, and so that incident that you're describing, where you told him that you did tell, yeah, when you hadn't, how did he react? Kayla said, he was calm, but he was like, I knew it. I knew it the whole time. And he was like calm. And then he I don't know, he was just calm. And it was like weird. And he's like, it's okay. Like, I understand why. Christopher Knowles says, and so that time that you're describing, where the times where you lied to him and said you did tell, you hadn't? Kayla, yeah. Christopher, did he still have her body at that point? Kayla, I honestly don't remember if it was. I don't remember if it was before or after, because it was constantly happening. crying and sniffling. More than 5 times? Kayla, I wasn't telling him that I told like 5 times, but it just kept happening with him when he was going to get like crying and sniffling. Then I told him that I wasn't doing anything, and then I told him that I didn't tell, and then he's like, why do you keep doing this to me, like messing with my head? And I'm like, I know I mess with your head, but you're like fucking with me so bad, and I just can't. You're telling me if I tell you that I did something that you're not going to hurt me, and then you still hurt me if I'm telling you that I did something I didn't. Crying and sniffling. Did that stop at some period in time at some point? Kayla, yeah, when I left him. When I took the kids and left. And the same day that I left, he punched me in the face and threw coffee at me. I literally had to, like, he went to the store to get cigarettes or something and already had stuff packed because I was leaving. I was going, and he was like, where did you just come from? And I'm like, I didn't come from anywhere. I'm leaving. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going. Like, I just got the few things I needed for the kids. I had a bag packed, and I was like, I'm just going. Like, I can't do this. And he was like, no, just wait right here. I have something for you. And I was like, I don't even want that. Like, I kept telling him every time that he wanted to go get crack. Like, obviously he knows that I like it. You know what I mean? But I was to the point where I was like, dude, just go somewhere else and do that. I don't want to deal with you. The house would get a mess. He would throw food cans, everything. And it came to the point where the kids were, Declan and Seamus were both like destroying it too, just because they didn't see him doing it, and they're doing it. And just because they see him doing it, and then they're doing it, and I couldn't stop them. And I would try to, and he's like, no, sit down. And I'm like, what the F, dude? Like, and I'd be stuck crying and sniffling. Detective Jack, anything else on that? Detective Max. I have a question. I know you said there's too many times to count, but like from when his behavior changed to when you finally left, how many times did something domestic related happen that wasn't reported? Like assaults, threats, him destroying things, to the time you finally left. Kayla. It was happening for about like a year and a half, like every day he was. And that's from Max. And Kayla said consistent, like pretty much almost every day, because and anytime we would get crack, anytime, like there would be like a 2-week period where there was nothing because he didn't get paid yet. That was when he was working at Home Depot. And then when he was waiting, and he was working with Mike first, and he was waiting to get paid, like it was just a period where there was no money. And then it was once we had money, we're like, oh, we shouldn't do this. And then we're both thinking about it and not telling the other one that, like, because we're both like, oh, we shouldn't do it. Then one of us says it out loud, and then like, all right, then we're just going to go get it. And then he goes and gets it. And then after that, it's like there would be like 2 weeks at a time, it'd be normal. Kayla said. And then within that year and a half, it was like all the time. Within that time, when he got arrested in March, over that period of time in the weekend, because I think he was arrested. I think it was like during the week, but over that weekend up until he got arrested that day, it was literally like Tornado Adam in the house, like 3 days in a row. And right after I would finish cleaning everything, it would start all over again. Detective Max says, thank you, Blue. I just came to check on you guys, and I saw that. Thank you. Detective Max says, so you think it happened quite frequently, like dozens of times, hundreds of times? Kayla, like hundreds. Okay, Kayla, and he even ripped the walls apart, was ripping the rug up, like ripping everything and ruining everything. Christopher Knoll says, where were you living when he was doing that? On Union Street. On Union Street. So from what you said, it sounds like it started when you guys got evicted and were living in the car. This change in his personality. Harmony was still alive at that point? Kayla said, yeah, until we were living in the car, until the car died. So aside from after you guys left the clinic and while you were still there, the December 7th, did he ever direct any of that at her prior to the day that he killed her? Oh God, you guys, this might be tough. Kayla, yeah. he was repeatedly punching her because she peed in the car again. But because we kept saying, if you have to use the bathroom, just let us know and we can bring you to the bathroom. And she wouldn't tell us. And then he would get mad and he would just hit her. But it wasn't so much as what he did that morning. Like that was just insane. Like Chris says, so the other times, not as bad, obviously, but can you describe that? Can you tell us a little more about it? Kayla, like, what do you mean? In the car? In the car when he would hit her. Kayla, so I remember that last day, like, I know because we were sleeping in our car, and I know a couple of times, like, we would wake up in the middle of the night or something, and like the car just smelled like pee, and you could just smell it, and it wasn't like bad, but you could smell it a little bit. And I know he would be like, what the fuck, Harmony, like, why are you doing that? And then he would like hit her or slap her or smack her. Like, he would do it like probably three times before all that, before the day that he just like kept punching her. Christopher says, when he would do that to her, how would she react? Kayla, oh God. She was like fetal position, like trying, just covering herself, and she was crying. Would she say anything? No. Oh my God, you guys. Let me check on you guys again. Hey, MK. I know. She was so tiny. Oh. Rando says, my kids have made me so angry, but it has never even crossed my thoughts to hit them. Even once, even hitting them once. But this particular day, it was over and over and over. I can't either, you guys. I am so sorry. I know it's tough to hear. Hey, Chrissy Newton. All right, we're going to continue. And afterwards, what would the interactions be like between him and her? Kayla said, I think you could see that she was scared, like a little bit, like sad. And Kayla is still crying at this point. Christopher says, would he try to console her or apologize? Anything like that? Kayla, yeah, he would after any altercation, he would be like, oh, I'm sorry, and console her. But that morning he didn't at all, because all he cared about was going to get high, which I did too. But at the same time, I didn't really care. We had our methadone. Sniffling. It's like, whatever. I don't know. He was just going crazy. Detective Jack, those and kind of piggybacking off what Chris said, those couple mornings that you guys stayed at the hotel, March 3rd and 4th, do you remember going to the clinic with Adam both mornings? Would you guys always go together? Kayla, I don't remember if we went to the clinic. I don't remember if he or I went. I don't remember. We have records that you did go. I'm just curious if you recall if Adam would have gone with you or not. She said, I think so. I don't remember if it was transportation. If the transportation came and picked us up, then yeah, we were together. And then was there times you guys wouldn't go together? Yeah, sometimes, like when we moved to Union Street, there would be days like when he thought I was trying to kill him, he wouldn't go take his methadone because he's like, I know they're poisoning me or you're having them do something to me. And I'm like, well, I'm going to get the methadone. Like, that's what's saving me. Like, I'm going to get that. And then he would tell me, no, we're not going to the clinic, and try to tell me I couldn't go get my methadone and I'd have to stay in the house. And like, you're not sick after you do it, not get it. Like the first 2 days, you're fine. But it's just like, that was just the routine. We'd get up, go to the clinic, have breakfast, and with the kids, and that, like, it was just getting all messed up because he wouldn't let me leave. He wasn't letting me leave. I literally had to sneak out with the kids one morning and go to the clinic, and Jackie brought me and he was sleeping. I literally had to just leave. Jack says, so you can't say definitively if Adam went with you or not the 2 mornings you stayed at the hotel. Okay, but when you did go, it was always in the morning. Yeah, it had to be in the morning, right? Yeah, because they're closed. During the week, they close at 10:30. On the weekends, no, they close at 11 during the week, and on the weekends, 10:30. And they were open from 6. And you always went to Market Street up until recently, correct? Yeah. So you and Adam never went to Maple Street? Kayla, no, I was there for 7 years. The same with Adam. He started a year after me, but yeah. Okay, so you guys had always gone to Habit Opco, right? Yeah, is that where you'd go? And I'm losing my voice, I guess. When did you say he wouldn't let you leave? What does that mean? Kayla said, he'd be like, you're not going anywhere. You're staying here with the kids. And like, if I'd be like, I would just listen to him because I was scared. Would he do anything physical, like kind of block you from getting to the door, or anything else, like physically stop you if you wanted to leave? She said, I don't remember about going to the clinic in the morning if he would do that, but I remember a lot of times when I would try and leave, he would block me, and I would unlock and run and unlock one door because we had the front door and the back door. And if I went to run one door and he stopped me, I would run to the other door and I'd make it out. And then he would con me into coming back inside. And he's like, you're just going to leave the kids here? You're just going to leave them like that? And I was like, I'm like, I need to go. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to leave them and go get help. Like, I can't do this, crying and sniffling. Chris says, when you said he'd con you to come back in, what are some of the other things he'd say to you? He'd be like, because I'd be outside and it'd be nighttime, and he'd be like, come on, Kayla, don't do this right now. Like, it's late. And he's like, don't do this. And I'm like, I'm not going back inside. He's like, get back in the house. I'm like, I'm not going back inside. I don't want to. And he's like, come on, it'll be fine. Just come on, come inside. And I'm like, no, sorry, you guys, my feet slipped. And I'm like, no, you always say that. And then it's not fun. And like, I don't want to go in the house. And he was like, I ended up going because my kids were in there still crying and sniffling. And you said just a moment ago, it's not fun. And when you go back in the house, what's happening when it's not fun? He just keeps talking crap to me, like he's saying I'm cheating on him and I'm trying to kill him and I'm telling about Harmony, and I didn't do any of that. What about when you wanted to go to the methadone clinic and he didn't want to go? You told us a moment ago sometimes he would say, they're poisoning me down there. You're having them, mix my stuff up and whatever it was. What would he do then if he tried to? Would he stop you from trying to go to the methadone clinic? Let me ask that first. She said, like, I would go get ready and I'd get the kids ready to go, and then our transportation would show up, and I'm like, all right. I'm like, we got to go. And he's like, no, we're not going. And I'm like, why? Like, we're ready to go. He's like, no, we're not going. And then if I didn't want to, just because I was scared, I didn't want to, I didn't know what was going to happen, whether I did go or didn't go, if I was going to get punched in the face, crying and sniffling. They say, eventually you left him. Can you tell me about that? Okay, so I'm going to read this. I just want to check on you guys, make sure everything is okay. Damn it. Thank you, Tess, because I felt the vibration in my lap. Oh my gosh. 4 minutes muted. Oh my God, I'm so annoyed with myself. I'm so sorry, you guys. Oh, it's been a few days since I've done that, but this is not the good time because it's not easy stuff to read. But honestly, this part that I was reading is nothing about the case at all. It's just she's describing, I cannot believe I did that. I am so sorry. I need that little banner. It's been 0 days since we've had a muting accident on the job. Murphy, I thought you got a drink. Thank you, guys. Hey, Donna. I went 12 once and I wasn't even sharing the screen. Oh my God, this Mel. 12 minutes. I'll have to put a little comment like muted at a certain time. I just love you guys. Thank you for being here. Oh my God. No, you're an awesome mod, Foxy. I couldn't see the chat. I can't see the chat when I'm reading at all. So I didn't know. And then I felt it in my lap and it said Tess is calling. And then like at the same exact time, it said B Crumbs was calling, or no, B Crumbs did a voicemail or something. And then I got messages from Shay too. Oh my God, I am so sorry. I thought you needed a break. It is tough stuff. I love you guys. I love you, Punksy. Thank you guys. Okay, so in this part, she's just describing the day that she leaves. And she says that morning he was gone and she left. So she ends up going to this old lady's apartment that is downstairs. I'm gonna just like summarize it for you because it's a lot of and not really any information pertaining to Harmony. But so she leaves that morning because he goes somewhere, and she goes to this older lady's apartment that's downstairs. And when love you, Shay. JC, I thought you were checking on the boys. Lord have mercy. I'm mad at myself. But so anyway, she goes to this apartment of this older lady that's downstairs, and she takes the kids, and Adam comes by there and tries to get the older lady to come outside and smoke a cigarette with him. She knows that Adam is absolutely brutal and is not going to give a damn if she's an old lady or anything, right? He's going to push right through her to try to get to the kids. So the older lady declined having the cigarette with him. And yeah, that's it. She ended up staying there, not for long, but for a little bit. There was also a window open. They had to shut because you could hear the kids. Then she goes to another apartment that is somebody else that she knows. And this apartment has a view of the parking lot, so she can see Adam in and out, coming in and out and going to score. And that's basically where I'm at. Rando, you are so sweet. Thank you. And I am so sorry, you guys. I'm going to have to put a little pinned comment that I muted. B Crumbs, where are you? I might pull my hair out. Okay. So, and before she left, they have this big argument like in the bedroom, and he's all messed up and he's throwing money everywhere. So he says like, can I have some money for cigarettes or something, and something small? And she hands him a $10 bill. He goes to leave. She cleans up all of his money, takes his money, and takes the kids and gets out of there. That's what she says. Okay, since we're paused though, I'm curious, like so far what we've heard, do you believe her? She's crying a lot. There's a lot of sniffling. The prosecution obviously believes her because in their motion, they outline that pretty black and white, in black and white, in my opinion. Oh my God. I just cannot believe I did that to y'all again. Dang it. Well, I keep having to mute because like I have to like clear my throat or cough. It's hard when you're talking like so much. Sometimes I'll just cough like that, but sometimes I'll try to not like, and I have to keep muting. Shay says, I do believe some of it. Hey, Marcus. Nope, not a word. She's self-serving. Roberta, I don't know. Wow. I think I believe some of it, but so see here, she says, I gave him a $10 bill. He went to the store. When he went to the store, that's when I took the kids and everything I had and left. Then she goes to the old lady. She can't remember her name, but this lady has an oxygen tank. And Adam tried asking her to go smoke a cigarette with him. That's so funny. He's so like, if that's true, that's just manipulative as hell to try to get her to try to get in there to the kids. Okay, so now she's at Tara's. This is the other place I was telling you, the apartment complex. And she says she could see him because the back side of our apartment was facing the parking lot. I could see him go. He was wearing a black hoodie and those black pants. He tried asking me to go with him. I'm like, no. He's like, come here. I'm like, no, I'm not coming over there. And I didn't. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, you go. And before he went up there, the curtains were open because he broke every light. So there was no light and I had to see. He broke every light in the house, apparently. And once he got upstairs, he ended up shutting all the curtains so nobody could see what he was doing, which was smoking crack. And then he was gone. He was gone again, I guess, because then somebody called the cops because he couldn't come back to the house when he got arrested that night, and he did. And then somebody called the cops. I think it was Tara or somebody saying he was in the area and he wasn't supposed to be there. They brought the dogs in and all of that. She ended up leaving at 3 and got a hotel, and he got arrested. So then they go back, they say, we want to go back to this storage unit. We found a phone. The screen was broken. Do you know anything about it? She said, I don't remember the kind of phone, but I know sometimes we had, I don't know why I would keep the phone, but I know sometimes because he was always breaking everything. He was always breaking phones like every time, anything we had, anything electronic, the TV, the phones, the tablets. He had broke every single one of them and destroyed them because he thought that, the phones were tapped or the cameras were being the cops were listening. The cops could see what we were doing, and he broke the TV accusing me that I was doing something sexual with some dude on the TV. And that when him and I were intimate, that somebody was watching through the TV, and I don't know. So whose phone would that have been at the storage unit? I don't know. Any reason you would have kept it? I probably because I wanted to get the pictures. And I remember there was a phone. I don't even know if it was this time. I've had so many phones, I can't even keep track. They say, are you consistent with your passcode? What do you think if we were able to get into that phone? What do you think the passcode, or what would you use? She said it would be 1008 October 8th. Or if it was a word, it'd be summer 2016. That's her usual password. She said, I think sometimes I would use 0728 if I was trying to keep him from getting into it. I don't know if we use Seamus's birthday, like the month and date, but I don't know if we use Declan's month and date, but I know 1008 was the numbers that we would use constantly because that was our anniversary date. So then she's just given her more she is giving them a couple other codes that it might be. So then she said, Detective, hold on, let me just check on you guys because I'm getting worried. I've muted again now. Detective Jack says, so I think we remember talking about social media, like Facebook, kind of in specific. Adam was blocking family members on social media to obviously include Crystal. Did you ever I could understand why Crystal, but why other family members who he hadn't really been in contact with? She said, I don't know. From my perspective, I think myself that it's because everybody just left him. Everybody just left, and that it was just everybody was down in Florida. And they say so he never said why he was blocking his family. No. Did he ever have you block his family? I don't remember if he asked me to, but I know there were blocks. I don't know if he did it himself or he asked me or what, but I remember there were blocks on the account that we shared. And then the one that I made, because I ended up giving him that one, but we ended up sharing it because it was originally mine. We could see everything on each other's Facebook. We had passwords. We knew everything. Didn't had anything from each other. But then he thought I was being sneaky, and I wasn't. He thought that I was literally looking for a job, and he thought that I was sending a message to some guy that I don't even know. And I'm like, why? Why am I going to do that? And he was like, well, you wouldn't let me see the phone. I'm like, because I was in the middle of typing something. I didn't say you couldn't see it. I said, hold on. And he's like, well, I chased you into the bathroom with it to just get it from you. I'm like, well, I had to go to the bathroom. I wasn't hiding anything from you. Okay, kind of going in line with the Facebook stuff. Did Adam communicate with any family members about Harmony prior to her death? Here we go. More, because the stuff about their relationship, sure, it's insightful to what was going on at the time. But hey, Bieber, good to see you. I still can't believe I muted this. I muted us like an hour and 55 minutes in. I'll try to remember it out loud for my comments. Okay, so they say, was he talking to anyone about Harmony? Were people reaching out asking about her? Was he reaching out to them talking about her? Kayla said, I remember text messages, but I don't remember Facebook messages. Yeah, well, whether it was through Facebook or some other means of social media. Kayla, yeah, I know his uncle Kevin said that he'd give him $500 if he could take Harmony and go to Florida with her. But other than that, I don't remember anybody really asking that I knew of. Jack says, how about ever video chatting with anybody else besides her mom? Like, was Harmony video chatting with Ellen or any other family members or friends besides Crystal? Around like Easter time, we know that she kind of stopped having any type of communication with her. How about after that? Do you remember any FaceTimes or anything with Harmony and any other family members? Not that I remember. I don't remember if when Nana went down to Florida, I don't remember if we did like a video thing at that time. Did Adam communicate with his family members after the murder at all? Like, was he speaking to anybody? She interrupts him and says, not that I know of, because he was going to say anybody on, I don't know on what, probably social media. She says, not that I know of, not that I know of. So during this time, he distanced himself from everybody. And she said, yeah, that I know of. Bye, Shay. Thank you for being here. Okay. I feel like we need to look. Wait, hold on. We're on 61. Okay. I'm thinking that maybe we should do a part 2 because this is a lot left. Let me see what you guys think, because I need to go do some other stuff too. And it's already like a 2-hour live. Hey, Adrian. I am so sorry again that I muted y'all for 4 minutes. Mel, you did make me feel better, though, because you said you did it one time for 12, but dang. I got to grab something. Yeah, let me know if you guys think a part 2 is a better idea. Yeah, do a 2. That's what I'm thinking, a part 2. Oh, thank you, Music City Mom. But I can't let you guys go just yet because I have to do something for Adrian really quick. So hold on just a sec. Oh, thank you, Music City Mom. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me turn this down. Thank you, Music City Mom. Thank you. Part 2. Part 2 is great. Well, we'll do that tomorrow. Good. That was the goal of that very embarrassing confession. Well, it worked. Thank you. So, yeah, that'll give us, because I think that'll still be like probably 2 more hours finishing through that. Then there's like 3 or 4 reports at the end, which just grazing through it, I could see like those are something we're going to want to read through. Hold on one sec. Okay, Adrian, I had to find you a little birthday video really quick. So hold on. And I got two of them. So, all right. Let me pull up my book. Tomorrow we will do part 2. Whoa. Where's our second one? Copy link. Do. I'm sorry, you guys, but this is just so important to me. So I really want to make sure to get both of these little videos. Okay. So let me I got them pulled up now. One of them. Grabbing the second one. And y'all know my style. I love the little babies. That's what we're going to watch. These ones are adorable, though. Hold on. Okay. Made me slide like a puzzle piece over. What? Okay. Here's our first little beauty of the day.
Wait for that note.
Oh my God, that note was really cute. Hold on.
Wait for that note.
She did the Mariah Carey. That was freaking adorable. Okay. One more. Okay.
You happy birthday. You happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Aww.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Okay. All right, you guys. So tomorrow we're going to do part 2 of finishing this interview. I'll go ahead and schedule it when we get off of here. I'm going to schedule a Patreon live as well. Don't forget, go subscribe to Patreon as a free member if you want, because I'm using it and posting posts that everybody can see. And if you are, just be looking for a link in the next 5 to 10 minutes. I think we'll start around it's probably around 6:35-ish. And then tomorrow we will do part 2 of this proffer. We have less than a month. So, yeah, I can't believe that they've put out all of this information right before trial. But honestly, at this point, he's already probably got the discovery. And so that's why, because it's a lot of details. It's a lot of details. So, I am so sorry for muting you guys for 4 minutes. I swear one day I'll get the hang of it. I've only been streaming for 3 years, almost every day, but maybe one day eventually I'll get the hang of it. But yeah, so I hope to see you guys here tomorrow to finish. Thank you, True Crime Crazy. I love my blanket so much. Thank you, Music City Mom. That was really sweet for the membership and the Cash App. Thank you, Shay. Adrian, happy birthday. Thank you to the mods. I appreciate you guys. I have an update. Oh no, Bieber. Yeah. Call me, message me. And I love you and appreciate you. Love you, Steph. Like I said, maybe I'll figure it out eventually. But yeah, anyways, thank you. And thank you, Mel, for giving me a little feel better. A little bit of feel better. So anyways, okay, I will see you guys in a little bit. I hope you have a lovely night. I'll definitely see you tomorrow, hopefully. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Don't worry about the muting. It's not that big a deal. I know, but like I just did it the other day for like a good amount of time again. So, you know. Thistle, there's a post with the link. And yeah. The best they can hope for is to exclude as much as they can and discredit Kayla's testimony as much as they can before trial. Well, a little birdie told me that Adam claims that things are not what they seem and that we will get another side of things. So, I mean, I don't know how that can be true, but whatever. We'll see. Thank you, this Mel. Aesop's, Kelly, all you guys, Queen Olive, JC, thank you guys, all of you, for everything. I do love and appreciate you. I'll see you in a little bit or tomorrow. And yeah, just have a great weekend. Bye.